Hi, I'm Julia and this is my alopecia story. My alopecia started about 20 months ago when I was on a train and I reached behind my head just to scratch and suddenly realised that that area of my head didn't feel like it should have because it was bald. So I went home and my housemate checked my hair for me, and lo and behold, I did have a bald patch behind my ear, maybe about that big. It's about 3 fingers worth is how she described it. She then checked the rest of my hair and also found that right on the top I had maybe about a 50p piece right on my crown. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning. I was sad about it. I was so terrified to know what was about to happen. And then suddenly you notice in your hairbrush that there's a lot of hair coming out. So I went to the doctors. They misdiagnosed me as having scalp ringworm, which is a really annoying misdiagnosis because scalp ringworm and ringworm in general is very contagious. So I had to have these special shampoos that were actually agitating my hair, and I was also expected to kind of deep cleanse my flat and my sofa so that my housemates wouldn't get it. And as I was thinking about all these things I had to do, I was thinking, this is so wrong. I don't have scalp ringworm. I've got none of the side effects apart from hair loss. I think I've got alopecia. So I went back to the doctors the following week and she said, yes, I think that you've been misdiagnosed. I think you have alopecia areata. Here is a tonic for you to put on your hair once a day and good luck. Of course, I did the research online. I found a lot of it very repetitive and unhelpful, which is why I made my action plan video, because that's what I wish I did. Instead, what I did was continue to use the topical treatments and to just hope for the best. What actually happened is my patches started to expand, and within a month they were more than twice as big as they were before. I had to wear my hair constantly pinned back like this, but at the same time this patch here was expanding and becoming harder to cover up. And as this one was getting bigger, I had to use more hair, and as this one was getting bigger, people were more likely to see it. So I was not having a very good time with that. Within the next 2.5 months, it had gotten so bad that I remember it being about 13 centimetres by 8 centimetre patch over here, and then it was about an 8 by 8 centimetre patch on the top of my head. I hadn't been to a dermatologist yet. The doctor had put me on a waiting list for them and said that I had to wait until January, which is a load of bollocks because when I actually went to go in January, I was busy at the time and they offered me 3 appointments that same week saying, oh, well, how about this date? How about this date? And I had to wait 6 months for that. And I didn't know all the options that I had, because there are options, there's not many, but there's more options than I realised. Oh, fuck's sake, my parents are here and they keep yoo-hooing. Excuse me 1 second. I'm back. What was I saying? It was my brother who first suggested to me that I should go and see a private dermatologist in London. At the time, I didn't feel like I was worth the money because, well, I just was against the idea of spending hundreds of pounds on an appointment for someone to say to me, yes, you do have alopecia areata. After a bit of resistance, I went, and I was so glad that I did, because he spoke to me more about what alopecia is and how it can be helped. He spoke to me about the tonic that I was using at the time, which literally was pointless from the doctors. So I was glad to know that. He prescribed new topical treatments, which was Regain, minoxidil, and I think this was 5% minoxidil, to put on daily. Unfortunately, I can't use that anymore because I seem to have developed an allergy and I react very badly to it. And then he spoke to me about steroid injections. Now, steroid injections people do not enjoy. I personally hated them. I went and got maybe 4 or 5 sessions, and every time I'd be like, I hate this part, I hate it. I know that's why I'm here, but I hate it. They use the steroid to go just under the scalp and basically to kind of make the white blood cells, which are the things attacking your hair follicles, it makes the white blood cells bugger off essentially, and that's what you want. Each treatment is painful, actually. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's extremely uncomfortable. I counted, I shouldn't have done this. One time I counted how many injections I was given, and I was given around 200 in one session. Oh, it's disgusting and it's horrible. But within a couple of weeks, I did actually start seeing some darker hairs grow, and I also had quite a lot of downy white hair grow. Now that's come and gone, because if I'm maybe a bit stressed again, it will just all disappear. So it might not be the most permanent treatment, but I gotta say it did help at the time. About 5 months after the first set of patches happened, this side of my head started to go, and they started as the smallest patches, and they grew and they grew and they grew and they grew. So that's what mine does. I get a little epicenter, if you like, and then the patches just expand. A month later, maybe 2 months later, I noticed that I had a little patch in the top of my head here, which again was starting to get bigger, which terrified me because I had no chance of covering that up. And so it was around this time, so about 7 months into my alopecia, that I seriously started considering hair systems. The first hair system that I went for, which was extremely recommended online, was Lucinda Ellery. I don't have that hair system anymore because for alopecia areata, and especially what I had, it was not the right system for me at all. Number of reasons for that. First of all, especially for my top patch, with the sewn on strips, it was so bulky, so bulky. Also, you could see where it was stitched on the outside, even if it was freshly tightened. Then throughout the month, it would actually slide to one side, revealing my scalp. So I had to pin my hair back anyway. On top of that, you also then had major strain on one side of my head, which was causing tension alopecia. So this hair was falling out from that. And besides from that, where it grows out, and just because it was so bulky with all the various stitching in place, it was incredibly itchy. So itchy. Very uncomfortable. So generally speaking, it was a terrible hair system for me. I didn't know about any of the other options at that time, and people don't tell you, and it's so difficult to navigate through it. But I got rid of that system because the condition of my scalp, once that was taken off, it was just completely braided, scabbed up, pussy. Like, how is your hair going to recover if that's the condition of your scalp? It was really bad. And even though I was maintaining it, didn't even look good. And it was the wrong colour. There was so many things wrong with it. So, yeah, it wasn't for me whatsoever. I only had the Lucinda Ellery hair system for 5 months, I think from January till June. And it cost me about $800 to put on, and then $150 each time it was tightened. So maybe around £1,500 to have something, which I needed. I really needed it at the time because I couldn't cover up my patches anymore, but it wasn't the right system for me, and I wish I knew about the other options. How I found out about the other options, I was in Australia travelling, because that's what I wanted to do before my hair fell out, and well, I'll be damned if hair falling out is going to stop me from living my life. So in Australia, I was trying to find someone who would tighten up this sewn in hair system that I had, and no one would help me. No one would really touch it, apart from this one guy in a motel room who literally just cut it off. I mean, he got a scalpel and just cut off all the connections, so I had all this short spiky hair around the edge, and this was kind of without permission. He just went ahead and did it, and I was like, well, fuck, better trust him now. So yeah, he cut it all off, and then he literally used adhesive to stick it back on whilst he was otherwise constructing a new hair system for me, which he ordered from China. Gotta say, it the first hair system being stuck on was more comfortable than when it was sewn in, because I didn't have all that strain and the movement. What this motel room guy designed for me is he does hair systems, and these hair systems are shaped to your head, and then you would stick them on with adhesive. So that's actually what I'm currently wearing now. It's okay. It's fine. It's more comfortable than the previous system, but I have a few issues with this system which make it uncomfortable. The problem with this hair system is this, particularly the top one, wasn't shaped to my head, so it buckles. Also, it's made out of lace with no parameter around it. Like, you're meant to have a plastic, silicone or PU parameter. As mine lacks it, number of issues where the tape goes onto the netting rather than this plastic parameter. When I take the tape off, it literally pulls the hairs through the wig system backwards. So this system is actually going bald very quickly, which is rubbish. Also, the edges are extremely sharp, so they dig in, and I actually get cuts on my head from that as well. So this hair system isn't for me. Plus, even though they sent off hair samples, it's the wrong colour. So I have to constantly dye the wigs and my hair to match. Even now, actually, I'm not doing a great job of it, because the wig, which is here, is much darker than my actual hair, even though I dyed this all about a month ago. So, nightmare. So I've tried sewing it in, tried sticking it on. Forgot to tell you that I'm reacting to the adhesive really badly, so I've got really pussy head again, which isn't good. So now I'm ordering a new hair system, which I've designed myself and ordered myself, which is a clip-on system. I hope that it's going to be good. The rest of my hair is very, very stable, so it can clip on, cover my patches, I can take it off, I can sleep comfortably, no adhesive, and also I've designed it to literally start here. So I'm not going to have to worry about the blending here. It's going to cover my whole head, and actually I've designed it to part this way so that hopefully I don't need a side system. And that just, there's one big system on top will just cover all my sins, so to speak. Should be coming through in about a month, so I will update you with that because I'm very excited. That's my hair systems. Generally speaking, where I am now, my hair, I think, got more stable probably about a year ago, so January, February time last year. I went travelling in April. My hair doesn't really expand anymore, so the patches are as big as they have been. I've got no new patches as well in the past year. I've got one new filled in patch, which is this guy here, because this started falling out. And as you can see, this started growing back about 7 months ago. So that's 7 months worth of growth, and I couldn't be more thrilled with it. Everything else is, you know, bold as a baby's bum. But it has like little peach fuzz on it, some fuzzies, which are quite exciting, because hopefully that will get better. And for the last 3 months, I've been doing infrared laser treatment. I heard in Australia that that is really good at stimulating your hair follicles. It just so happens that my dad had an infrared laser that is perfect for this kind of treatment. So I'm currently doing it every other day at home, this treatment. Haven't seen vast improvements yet, apart from all my fuzzies. So I'm hopeful for that. Generally speaking, I'm in a really good place with it. Of course, I still have sad days, but they are very few and far between now, which I'm really proud of. Haven't found it's affected me negatively with men, which is good. I don't actively date, but everyone that I have told about it has been super nice about it and not minded. So don't worry about that if that's a concern of yours. Generally speaking, I would much rather not have alopecia. But from this experience, I have become a lot more humble to what people might be experiencing in their life. I'm a lot more grateful for what I have, and I believe it needed to happen to me because I knew I was stressed. I didn't listen to my body, didn't listen to my mind, I didn't take myself seriously, and my hair falling out made me sit up and listen and take action. I quit my job. I went travelling like I always wanted to do. I am looking for new experiences and risks, and generally speaking, I'm much better off now than I was before I had alopecia, because I was getting run down and I wasn't in a life that I was happy with. And now I'm much happier. Would love to have my hair back, don't get me wrong, but I'm much happier in general. So